Alright, I'm Libby Storie, and I'm doing my presentation on experiencing flow at work. Flow is, there's not a concrete definition of being in the flow, and so I'm going to read off like kind of three definitions that the authors of three of the articles that I read gave for flow. And according to Montea, flow is a state of profound task absorption, enhanced cognitive efficiency, and deep intrinsic enjoyment that makes a person feel one with activity. According to Heo, Lee Pedersen and McCormick, flow is experienced when individuals exhibit an intense psychological state through their participation in a certain challenges. And then according to Nelson and Khalil, flow is a particular kind of experience that is so engaging that it is worth doing for its own sake, even though it may not have consequence outside itself. So these definitions are very similar, but I just thought it was interesting because one of them concentrates on the challenge of a task that when you experience flow, and one of them talks about concentrates on like the feeling of kind of escaping from this world when you're doing this task. And so I just wanted to give those kind of examples of those series and examples. And then after hearing these examples, have any of you experienced flow that they can think of? And also I have some pictures, like you can experience flow in not only work, but I have a picture of George Clooney. He's an actor, so you can experience, I'm sure the actors experience flow when they're acting, and also you can pass it and experience it while you're even watching a movie. And then during worship, when you're worshiping God, it's really easy to experience flow. And then reading is another example. And then sports, Kelly Walsh and Misty May Trainer. Those guys experienced some serious flow. They won 3 Olympics back-to-back in beach volleyball and lost, is it game or match when you only lose like a third or a bit?
Game.
They only lost 1 game, and so out of all the matches that they played in the 3 Olympics that they were in, they only lost 1 game. And so those are just some examples of flow. I don't know if that kind of gets your guys' brain rolling. If you guys can think of any examples of flow that you've been in. Time?
Yeah, I get into flow when I write.
Okay, cool. Anyone else?
I run.
Cool. Yeah. And I think in sports too, like it talks about how when we get in the flow, we don't pay attention to the people around us, but in like volleyball, for example, you're aware of your players, but you don't feel or hear the fans or anything. It's incredible. I've experienced it with soccer, and it's really cool. So the question is, how do we get into flow? And Nelson and Glenn give us 3 elements of flow, so absorption, enjoyment, and intrinsic motivation. So something that is able to absorb you in the content of what it is, and then also it can predict flow if it's something you enjoy a lot. And also if you have intrinsic motivation, so if there's something internal motivating you to do it other than like there's external motivation, extrinsic motivation, which is rewards and like competition, like if you're competing against someone else, would also be an extrinsic reward, but they say that intrinsic motivation is really important in getting in the flow. So experiencing flow at work, women tend to experience flow when they're doing tasks such as problem solving, organization, and dealing with staff. And then men experience flow when they're meeting a deadline, keep competing, like when they're competing with someone else to get a project done, or if they're trying to steal a position from someone else, then a male will experience flow, can experience flow in that. And then lastly, when they're attracting new business, so like salesmen when they're getting someone to buy a car, like they could be in the flow in that. And this is not everyone, but these are just kind of predictors of flow between male and female. And then also, employees can increase the possibility of getting their employees into flow when they allow their employees to have their own say in their work, and give them a task to accomplish, but allow them to set their goals and the baby steps to get there. And so they're thinking with their own mind. They're able to think creatively to figure out how to get this done. And then give them clear goals and rules. They say that it can be dangerous to set like too many rules and have like extremely concrete goals, but at the same time it's important to have little goals, because that if they don't have a clear understanding, then they spend a lot of time trying to figure out exactly what their boss wanted. But if they have like a clear understanding, say this is what I want, just kind of an outline of goals, and just so they can they don't have to spend the time to figure out what their boss wants. They have a clear understanding of that, and then they can use their creativity to accomplish the goals. And then also brainstorming is another activity that people that feel flow when they're doing it. And then planning events that like their birthday party, or even a work event. And so I'm going to give you guys a chance to experience flow. So if you all could pull out a piece of paper. Okay, so I'm going to give you all 1 minute to plan your guys' ideal and like kind of dream date, starting now. Date. Okay, so I don't know if any of you, while you're doing that, if you kind of forgot about the people in the room and kind of were thinking about like picturing what it would be to be on this date, like walking out across the beach somewhere, or skiing, or just like something like that. Just kind of putting yourself in that situation and then getting it down on paper. I don't know if any of you felt that. And then one thing about flow is they said that some things that can hinder flow is extrinsic motivation, such as competition and like if you do this certain thing, then you'll get a raise. And so we're going to do it again, and I made a little trophy. This doesn't really look like a trophy, but kind of does. And so we're going to do it again, except for this time I'm going to give you guys 1 minute to brainstorm as many colors as you can. And the winner gets this. And there's a little surprise in the middle, so don't flip it over to get it. Okay, and 1 minute starting now. As many colors as you can think of. Okay, time's up. All right, so how many of you got 15? How many of you got 16? How many of you got 20?
Oh, wait, no, not much.
Okay, so how many did you get, Barry?
19.
Did anyone get higher than 19? You got 19, so it's a tie?
I got 23.
You got 23?
I got 23 too.
Well, I didn't prepare for a tie, but this thing is big enough for both of you. So you guys can both come up.
Rock, paper, scissors.
No, it's okay. I'll just sit back here.
Alright, Alright. And so did any of you feel like a difference between the 1 minute when you were kind of thinking of this perfect date and then when you were kind of rushed to write down as many numbers? Did you guys feel the difference in that at all? And so that's what they're saying. That's what they're saying when they're talking about extrinsic motivation can not always but can hinder experiencing flow. And so the importance of flow the benefits of being in the flow at work for employers. Obviously, if you have employees that are excited to come to work and just get accomplished what you are and you're all on the same page is a huge benefit. But yeah, and so if they're all enjoying the work and if people are experiencing flow while they're working for you, then they're concentrated on this task and they're concentrating and they're not being distracted by the other people. And so that is a benefit of providing an environment where your employees can experience flow better. And then lastly, if they're interested in it. And obviously you can't, like if you employ someone who's just coming in like working for just the money, then it's going to be hard to find something they're interested in. And I think that that's part of the people who are getting the job is getting a job that they're interested in. And so that's not always something that you can control as a boss. But if everyone is interested in it and not being distracted, then that is a huge benefit. It saves a lot of money and time as an employer. And so the importance of flow outside of work, they talked about one of the articles by Heo, Peterson, and McCormick. They talk about the importance of leisure and how as we get older and we approach adulthood, it's important to take time out of your day and have leisure time. And then how psychologically and physically important that is, and then how much even more experiencing flow is on your body. And also, one of the videos we listened to here, or watched in here, the guy talks about, playing as adults. And obviously it's not going to look at the same as when you're playing as children. But he's just communicating, and these guys are communicating the importance of taking time and doing things you enjoy and experiencing flow. And then Colossians 3:23 says, whatever you do, work with your whole heart as working for the Lord and not for human masters. And I just thought of this when I was thinking about flow, because when you're in flow, you're working with it your whole heart. Like you're not thinking about anything else. And when, like on the soccer field and on the volleyball court and stuff, you're not thinking about it, and that's what God wants us to be. He wants us to be like in this place where we're constantly working with our whole hearts and not thinking about the distractions of the extrinsic motivations that this world provides, but concentrating on what He has for us. And obviously, we're not always gonna be in the flow, but I just advise you guys to, as finals come and people are getting stressed out, to plan ahead and take some time and plan in leisure time when you're studying, and so you can experience the importance of flow. Any questions?